morning, everyone, and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Well, tonight's video is one that I love to do. I've done a couple of these already, and I'm going to keep doing them because I think it's so much fun, and it really helps people see how to be inspired by other crafters in our community. So this is an inspired by video, and what that means is that I am constantly on our Facebook group, constantly, and I'm also on Instagram, and I always search by the Gina K Designs hashtag on Instagram. So I'm always perusing Instagram, always looking through Facebook on our Facebook group, and I find a card that inspires me to make a card with some of the elements from that card, maybe changing it up a little bit and bringing it to you here on YouTube. Now, this is kind of what we call in the industry casing. And casing, there's a couple different versions of it. It's copy and share everything. And it's also, some people say copy and steal everything, but you know, the way to avoid that casing is to change it up and make it your own. And that's what we're going to do tonight. So welcome, everybody. I hope you enjoyed tonight's video. Before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Hello, everybody.
How are you? You look a little windblown.
I am better than horrible.
It feels like we haven't been here for a while. We have, though.
Why
we were
is
just
that?
here on Thursday. I don't know. Every day feels like it's like 72 hours long. And then you go to sleep and it's like 1 minute, right?
Sometimes if you break a routine, the days seem to last a lot longer.
Yeah?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I haven't been breaking routine, and these days have been going on forever. I think it's because it's getting cold, though. I think that's what it is. Up here in Wisconsin, we had quite a snowstorm south of us. Luckily, we just got a little dusting of snow, but some of our friends from the Racine, Kenosha, Chicago border area, they got hit pretty hard, so yeah.
Yes, it's supposed to be a crazy winter, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And next week's supposed to be nice again, or this week's supposed to be nice again, so who knows? All right, so will you be back with the word of the day?
Depends if you have the kill switch installed yet. I don't know if that happened.
Don't.
She's working on that, I promise you.
Hey, before you leave, let's show everybody the card that inspired me. I think that would be really fun for everybody to see. So this is the card that I'm inspired by tonight, and this is a beautiful card by Facebook group member. And Angie, I apologize if I say your name wrong, but I think it's Angie, either Angie Chi or Angie She. So Angie made this beautiful card. In fact, she didn't just make this card. She made several different cards with different color combinations that were just spectacular. And I saw this card and I thought, oh, that is such a beautiful card. Now that card, Angie made with the Snowflake Cascade stamps that was one of my Stamptember sets with Simon Says Stamp back in 2020. So I thought this would be a great card to use as an example because this is not a card that anybody can copy exactly anymore, right? Unless you have that Snowflake Cascade stamp set because it's not available anymore. That was a one and done with Simon Says Stamp. But I pulled a couple products from our Gina K Designs line, and I think we're going to be able to case this card in kind of a new and different way, and I'm going to show you a technique. So we'll be referring back to that card now and then, just to make sure that we're doing kind of the right thing. All right, so the stamp set that I thought I would use, and I think this is a great one. Let me get a little piece of white cardstock so you can see it better. But this stamp set is called Blizzard. So this has been in the Gina K Designs line forever. I mean, gosh, probably, I don't know, 5 years maybe. And you guys know that I like to go back and I like to use older products from our line from time to time. And I think this is a really great stamp set. It's a beautiful snowflake set. Now, if you don't have this one, I have another suggestion here. And this is another great one. Let me grab this piece of white cardstock. This one is Sparkling Snowflake. I don't know why I've been putting these in upside down, but this is Sparkling Snowflake. So if you have Sparkling Snowflake, that would be a good one to use too. Or if you have Blizzard, this would be a good one. Let's take a look at Angie's card again. And you can see that the snowflakes in her card are very open. They feel very scroll-like. They feel very open, almost like a wrought iron. They're not too dense. And they're very elegant. They're soft. They're rounded. And they're swirly. So when I looked at that, the first thing that I thought of was our Blizzard set. Now, the snowflakes are not the same, but they certainly will be able to give us a very similar look. So this is the one I think I'm going to use right here. This is the Blizzard stamp set, and this is the one I think I'm going to use. But if you don't have this one and you have Sparkling Snowflake, you can use that. Or you can use, there's another one here that I like. This one is called Snow Much Love. This could be another good option for you. Now, this one's not as swirly, but it does have bigger snowflakes, and they are open, so they're a little bit more, you know, scrolly looking as opposed to like big, fat kind of meteor snowflakes. Okay, and then I like, the other reason why I like this one is because it's got a lot of different sizes. And if we go back to that picture one more time that Angie made, you can see that it has like a bigger snowflake, like something like, you know, like, well, I'll show you. But you see the smaller snowflakes that it has that kind of create that oval? Well, let's go back to the Blizzard stamp set here. You can see here, you could easily use this one for the big one, and then you can use some of these small ones for around the outside. So we want to try to replicate that whole oval look, but we're going to do it in a little bit of a different way. Okay, so let's get started. Now, I'm going to be using my sticky mat for this, and I'm also going to be using my grip mat and my Misty. And the reason why I want to use the sticky mat and not just the grip mat is because I really want to lean on the lines here so I can center things. So this sticky mat is kind of slippery, right? And so even when you put it in the Misty, it can slip around. But if you attach it to the grip mat, then it stays in place a lot better. So I think that's just a little tip for you tonight. I'm just going to put this back on here for a second. Now, I'm going to cut a piece of cardstock that measures this similar size here to this larger, the large oval here at the top. Now, the large oval is marked on the sticky mat as A, and that means it measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So I want to do mine to match that size so I can use that as my guide. All right, and this is going to enable me to really center these snowflakes and kind of do a little flip it technique. So let me get a piece of cardstock here. I'm going to use some layering weight cardstock for this. I may regret that because I'm going to be doing heat embossing, but okay, so that measurement was 3 7/8. So we're going to go to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. All right, so that is also, if you don't want to hand cut it, that is the same size as the larger rectangle in Master Layouts 1, okay? And I'm going to line it up onto this rectangle. So that's going to enable me to pretty much know that whatever I do here is going to be fairly centered. Now, the center of this, and the way I got the center point of this is I counted squares. So I have I counted full squares. This is not a full square because see, it's got a little bit of extra on the side here. So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then you have these partial squares on the end. So now if I count 7 over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that happens to fall right on the 3-inch mark. And that's the center here of this card. So now when I position my snowflakes, I can use that 3-inch mark as the center. All right, if that makes sense. Now I'm going to come down a little bit onto this card because I want to be able to cut it out with a master layout set or something else later. Now I'm going to be doing some heat embossing here. So I'm going to have to reposition this each time, but that's okay. I'm going to use my embossing magic pad and just rub that over the surface of the card to remove any oil or anything that's inside here on this piece of cardstock. And then what I'm going to do here is I am going to, you could put a pencil line if you want and a ruler, and you could find the 3-inch mark and just draw a pencil line down the center, and that would make it super easy to center it. Now, if you see, let's go back to Angie's card real quick, and you can see Angie has a strip sentiment in the center. It's a big one. That was the one from the set from Snowflake Cascade. It's a big one, and we have strip sentiments in our collection that are big, but we also have some that are not quite so big. Here's the one that I thought that I could use to sub in, and this is from our new seasonal patterns and phrases. That's the one with the spatter stamp that everybody loves and this beautiful background. Also these inside greetings, but we can do a center greeting using this stamp set. So even though it's not going to be as big, it's going to be a little bit different. We'll see how it goes. I have seen the new Misty. I'm not sure about it yet. They haven't sent me anything, and so I don't know what it's like, but I'm interested in seeing it. I think it's good, especially if you're doing scrapbooking, because you can kind of set it up anywhere, but so far, I haven't had any trouble using my Misty for my card projects, but I'd have to play with it and see all the different things that it does. Okay, so now I'm going to count down here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we have 20. So if I go 10 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then this is going to be the center of my card right here. So I'm going to put a piece of, let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So right there at the 4 1/4 inch mark. My Misty's upside down, so I'm just looking at it this way. It's 4 1/4 inch mark. So I'm going to put this right over the center here of this line. All right, let's see. I've got to count it again. 4 1/4. That's this line right here. So I've got 10 down here, 10 up here. So this is the center right here, if that makes sense. So I'm going to place that right there like that, just in the center of that line. And I can see through the Masking Magic strip. I just want to block that off so I have like half. I mean, I could really go like right up to this line right here if I wanted to. I think it will be okay. Okay, just like that. So now I'm dividing my card in half. All right, now I'm going to place one of my snowflakes. So I think the biggest one is going to be this one here that I want to use. And I'm going to place that, and I can easily see where the center will be, even just by using a little piece of cardstock. So let me grab a piece of cardstock here. If I put that at the 3-inch mark right there, this might be even an easier way for me to place it. And I just place it right there. That's the halfway point. Now I can put this stamp anywhere on there at the halfway point, right? Like that. I think that will be kind of cool. And that will allow me, my greeting is definitely going to fit over this. No problem. So I think I'll put my stamp right about there. And we'll see how this works. Now I'm going to get my stamp in place, and I'm just going to pick that up with the door of the Misty. Oh, my paper's a little bit too big, so I'll just hold it there like that. Then I'm going to pick it up with the door of the Misty. Now I'm going to stamp this using some Embossing and Watermark ink. Okay. Alrighty. Now I'm going to do this one in gold, okay? So I've got my Gina K Designs gold embossing powder here. And let's see here. Here we go. Now I'm going to stamp this right onto my cardstock.
Wait a minute.
What?
Somebody's saying you went up one too far?
I did?
Didn't you want to be at 4 1/4, but you're at 4?
No, the center point is 4 1/4. Okay. And this is a 1/2 inch strip. So if I put the 1/2 inch at 4 and the other part of the 1/2 inch goes to 4 1/2, then 4 1/4 is dead center. Does that make sense? If it doesn't make sense, just, you know, kind of follow along and do what I do. We'll see. Maybe I messed it up. We'll see. But I think this is correct. Okay. So now I'm going to stamp that. Get nice coverage there. And the thing that's weird about stamping these snowflakes is it's hard for you guys to see what I'm doing here until after we get some embossing powder on here. So I really push this down onto the sticky mat. So let me just use this to get it off. Okay. So now I'm going to add my embossing powder to that snowflake. I got to do these one at a time so that I can see what I'm doing. Now I don't even have to emboss it yet. I can put this back on here. All right. Actually, let's just flip it around and see how it goes, because we're trying to do the top and the bottom the same. So we'll see. We'll know if I mess that center up. We'll see. You never know, right? Alrighty. Oh, I think it's pretty close. It's okay if they're a little off top and bottom as far as like side to side. Don't worry too much about that. It'll look pretty good either way. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now let me get it back on here. We'll worry about dusting off all the little dust particles when we're all done. Okay, so back in the same spot again, making sure that I am centered on that, that rectangle there. Now some people will just, you know, do it by hand and they'll be able to see all of it, and they won't need to measure like I measured, but I feel like I needed to measure here. Okay, now I'm going to pick a different stamp from here. Where'd my stamp set go? Here it is. I don't have that much on my desk. Okay, I think I'll use this one. I really like this one, so I'm going to use this one next. All right, so I'm going to put that right here. And again, mine doesn't have to be exactly like Angie's. Mine can be a little bit different. It's okay if it's a little bit different. And then I'm going to ink that up. I know I'm really close here. Let me see if I can get more of what I'm doing in the scene. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see all of you. Sean, measure. Well, you know, I just feel like I wanted to. Okay, so now I'm going to pick this up again. My corners are definitely going to be beat, but that's all right. Get that on there. Okay, so we have a second snowflake. Now I'm going to flip it and we're going to do the other side. So it'll be a little different from side to side, but I kind of wanted to get that just a little bit centered. Okay, here we go. Embossing and Watermark again. And I don't know why I feel the need to press it down so hard. I'm just so afraid it's going to move. Get a little more on there. Okay. So there we go. Now let's put a few more snowflakes on. So this is kind of like a flip it and go kind of thing. I'm flipping it. I'm doing, you know, the same thing on both sides. Let's pick a different one. So let's go with this one. It's kind of interesting. We'll do this one here. Okay. And once again, inking it up.
And what embossing powder is that?
This is the Gina K Designs Fine Detail Gold Powder. I do like to use a fine detail powder when I'm doing these kinds of things because I feel like you get a little bit more detail out of the design, especially when they're graceful images like this. Alrighty. There we go.
Laura wants to know, Gina, do you make Christmas cards to send out? And if yes, about how many?
I probably make about 60 or so. So many of them I make here in my lives, and I just put them away. Sometimes, depending on how intricate a card is, I might make a couple practice cards first, you know, to see if there's a technique that I like, and then I'll change it up when I go live. But most of everything that I make during my lives. So you think about all the cards I made in July for our Christmas in July, and then all of the cards that I've made this month, including all the foil ones and stuff. Probably about 60 total. I make some duplicates, that's for sure. Okay, so now I'm going to put this one here. And remember, we don't have to make it exactly the same, which is good because it won't be. But it's going to have that feel. All right, so we'll get that on there. And we'll add that embossing powder. And then I'm going to flip it. And honestly, you know, when I'm casing a card, like Angie's beautiful card tonight, I sometimes have an idea like, oh, I want to keep the oval. And then I start making the card my own way, and then all of a sudden the oval doesn't work anymore. So it might be more squarish, or it might be more rectangular, and that's okay, you know, just kind of let it unfold the way it's going to unfold. You don't have to copy exactly. That's the beauty of it, is that you're kind of doing your own thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and reposition this again. And let's get another one up here. I think I'll use this one over here. This is the same one I used there, or there. And I know I touched a little bit of that embossing powder, but hopefully that embossing and watermark ink is still wet enough that I can add that powder back on there. If you feel better about it, you can go ahead and emboss with your heat tool in between each step, because, you know, sometimes that just feels more secure than having all this loose powder all over the place, you know. Okay. Get another one there. Okay. So now let's add a couple near the top, and we'll use the small snowflake from this set. Let's clean that. And we'll use this real small snowflake. And if there's, you know, don't be afraid to mix and match other sets too. If you're like, oh, I don't have a small enough snowflake, just grab a different set. You probably have a small snowflake in a different set. So this is the hard way. I'm going to show you another technique in a little bit. But we're going to just finish this one first. Okay. We'll flip it. We'll do another one up there in that corner. Add some powder to that. All right, now we're getting there. I'm going to use this same snowflake and I'm going to move it to the other side. I'm going to clean it first, just in case I drop it weird or something and it's not in a good position and I want to move it.
Barb wants to know, can you heat emboss with the masking magic on the cardstock?
Yes, you definitely can. You definitely can. I think I'm going to do that, actually. I think it might just be a little bit safer to do that. Okay. One more.
And Kat wants to know, could you use the wreath builder for this?
Oh, definitely you could use the wreath builder. That would be beautiful. You'd get a very circular type of design using the wreath builder, for sure. Okay, so I'm going to put one more snowflake on here, and it'll probably get cut off when I trim it down, but I'm not worried about it. I'm going to do this one. I think, no, maybe I'll do this one, like at the top. Let's see if I have another snowflake, a smaller one, perhaps. Perhaps I don't. Maybe I do. Let me just take a peek at some of these other stamp sets that we've recently released. Ooh, I know a good one. I think we have one in this set. This is a little something stamp set. And we've got some tiny little snowflakes there. And this one is such a cute one. Look at this one. I'll have to put that up against something. You see that one? Isn't that so cute? It's so delicate. So never be afraid to mix and match, because you'll get some really cute looks. All right, we'll put that there.
A lot of people nervous about you losing some powder.
Losing some powder? Yeah, well, this one I didn't stamp 100% great. So that one does have a little less powder on it, but it's okay. It's still going to be pretty. Don't worry. Don't worry too much. There we go. There's that. Some of that's going to get cut off anyway. We'll do one more. I am living on the edge. You're absolutely right. I'm always living on the edge. Okay. Put that on there. And then we will recoat these just to make sure we get enough powder on there. We'll just add that back in there. And then that one, put that back. I'm not going to worry too much about this because I'm going to chop that off up there. All right, let's see what happens. Let's see. I do have a brush here, and I can brush, which is probably better than just blowing it off, because it is getting kind of dry, but we'll see. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's give that a try and see what we get. It is better to try to get all the strays off before you emboss, because it's really hard to get them off once you have embossed. Some people use a mono sand eraser, but I'll tell you, it's not easy, especially to get into the tightest, tiniest areas.
This is becoming quite the mission embossable.
Is that a word of the day, Tom? Hello. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our heat tool. I'm going to start heating this up. Yeah, Mona, it's probably a good idea to heat after each one if you feel more comfortable with that, but we'll just see. We'll just see how it works. Okay. Oh my gosh, I almost cut the cord of this heat gun with my paper cutter. It got under there. All right, let's flip that. I think that looks pretty good. Looks pretty done. Okay. All right. Now, let's hope for the best when I pull this off. There we go. Now we've got our split design. But let's go back again and look at Angie's card. Can we do that? Let's take a look at Angie's card. Okay, so her card is so pretty. Every time I see it, oh, it's so pretty. So the thing that I love about Angie's card that I don't have on my own card here are those beautiful lines that go across. So I want to show you a fun little technique where you can create that very easily, just using something very simple from your craft room. Now you guys might have red line tape, you might have score tape, or you might have the amazing Gina K Designs Terrific Tape. So that's what I'm going to use, and I'm going to create that here on my card. All right, so I have some 1/8 of an inch Terrific Tape. I'm definitely going to need my glasses for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that Terrific Tape, let me trim that. I'm going to put my Terrific Tape right up against the edge of this design. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to really press that down. And this one, I promise I'll do one at a time because I feel like that was stressful for everybody. Okay, I'm going to trim this off just so that there's not a lot hanging over the edge, even though we're still going to cut this down. Okay, so I trimmed that off. Now, what I'm going to do is, I want to make sure it's really pressed down. Then I'm going to peel off the liner. I cut all my nails down, and now I can't peel anything. But since I'm going to trim this off, let's see if I can just help it along a little bit. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to use this powder on that line. Okay, so let's clean up the mess here. Okay, we'll clean it up over here. I'm getting close, but I'm not touching it yet. We'll see if I totally mess it up. Get real close to the line here. And I'm just cleaning up the excess dust powder. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let me get it off there too. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and emboss that. And that should give me that nice line. Are we getting closer? Getting closer to the look? Okay, so now we've got that line. Now we need to do one more line underneath. And again, I'm using the edge here as my guide because I need to keep that opening about the same. That's going to allow you to stamp the greeting in there. Okay, so we'll get that right up against the edge. Looks good. And again, I'm going to cut this off just so it's not a bunch of excess. And then does that look straight? Well, it looks like it's coming down just a little bit on this side, but that's all right because we're going to take it in anyway when we trim it, so it'll be better than horrible. Okay, let's see if I can get this off easier this time. Nope. It's probably the side that I did that to, and it probably moved the tape, but that's all right. Yes, you can do all kinds of beautiful backgrounds with this tape, you know, and emboss it in different colors, gold and silver, you know, any color embossing powder that you have. Okay. The nice thing about it too is it's going to stick to the tape. So even if you even if I touch the tape a little bit, it's not going to ruin it the way it would if I was only using Embossing and Watermark ink, because it's stuck on that tape really well. So you don't have to worry too much if you touch it a little bit with the brush. Okay.
Renee wants to know, can you use glitter?
Yes, you can. You can definitely use glitter this way. When you use glitter this way, what I suggest is after you put the glitter on the tape, just maybe put just press the glitter down into it, okay? Because you definitely want to press the glitter in. You're not heating it, so it's not going to, you know, some of it will be loose on the top. You can brush that away, but press it down in there. All right, so now we've got our lines going across the center. So let's go back to our inspiration card. I think we're getting close to that inspiration, but we kind of did it our own way. Now, Angie's card is beautiful. She has a lot of inking on hers. I don't know if I'm going to ink mine on this one, but I think I'm going to case this a second time using a different kind of stamp, and I will show you the ink blending. So, all right. So now let's go ahead and get our greeting on there. So we could do our greeting in Embossing Powder 2. I can pull this out now. I don't need this in here. And I can get this stuck right to the grip mat then. And now we can pick our greeting. So Angie did Merry Christmas. I'm going to do Merry Christmas. Now I could do this straight greeting that goes across. Or this stamp set actually has kind of a scripty greeting in there that's really pretty. It will overlap a little bit onto the gold though, so I think you might lose something there. So let's go ahead and use this strip sentiment one from the seasonal patterns and phrases. And I am going to put a little bit more embossing magic on there because I've been touching this like crazy. And now we want to get this centered. That looks pretty centered. I might move it over just a hair. I could add some ink blending to this. I feel like that looks pretty centered. Does that look centered to you guys? All right, So what I'm going to do here is, before I stamp this, and a lot of you have been with me for a long time, have seen me do this before, I'm just going to take this plastic acetate sheet off of one of the stamp sets here, and I'm going to lay it on top. And then I'm going to stamp this in black onyx just to make sure it looks straight before I actually stamp it with the Embossing and Watermark ink. So that looks pretty straight to me. So I feel pretty good about that. That's just my test run, and I'm going to take my tidy towel and clean the clear sheet off here. And now I feel good about stamping it on here. I am going to clean the stamp because I don't want it to have black on it. Not that it matters because we're putting gold powder over it anyway, so it would cover it. But, I mean, I don't want to get black onto my embossing and watermark pad. Okay. And we'll stamp that in there. I think that looks good. I hope that looks good. I guess we'll see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Pretty good. We can clean all this off. Sometimes I'll just take a Swiffer duster off the big parts of the card because it's so much easier than trying to do it all with a brush. But we can get down in here. And anything that's close to the edge there will just emboss into the edge. Okay, let's see how it looks. I feel like I just did a little bit too much there, so I'm going to dab a little bit more on there. No, I'm just going to pour it on there. We'll just deal with it. I don't want to have not enough powder on there. That's better. I feel like I touched it a little bit too much with the brush. Okay, this is looking good. Embossing powder always looks a little bit shaky to me until you actually heat it up. It swells ever so slightly and kind of fills in a little bit. Oh, that's pretty. There we go. So we cased Angie's design, and even though we didn't have a stamp set that had a split kind of thing going, which those are such fun stamp sets when it's all put together for you like that, but we didn't have one, so we wanted to replicate it the best that we could, and I think we did a pretty good job here of making it close. Now, something like this card, I do really like the white. I think it's really pretty. If I was going to ink blend on it, I might do a little bit of red or maybe even a pink. But I think I'm going to leave this the way it is, and I'm just going to trim down the excess. So this card, I want to trim this card down to 4 3/4. So I'm going to go just a little lower here, like that. And then we'll go to the 4 3/4 inch mark. 4 3/4 by 3.5. So just going to trim a little bit over here on this side. And then let's see if that looks pretty centered.
Question, Patricia is looking to learn the differences between your black inks, Onyx, Obsidian, etc., and when to use each of them. Do you have a video or something that explains that?
We have a chart in our Facebook group that you can look at. I'm going to trim this down just a little bit more. We have a chart in our Facebook group that you can look at. And I'm not sure if that chart is on our website or not, but it does tell you what different inks are used for different things. So you could check that out, and that will tell you all of the differences between the different inks. Okay, so now I think I'm going to just mount this onto, dare I say, a black panel. Maybe I should do something different. Maybe I should do red. Should I do red? Red with the gold? That would be so pretty, the red with the gold. So let's do that. Yeah, if you're a member of our Facebook group, and if you're not, you really should be, because it's really fun over there. We've got a whole file section filled with information about our products and so many different things. I still feel like I want to trim this down a little bit more. I might trim it down a little bit more.
Question, My Crafty Adventures asks, I just started embossing and I noticed that the heat tool sometimes changes the color of the cardstock. What am I doing wrong?
You're not really doing anything wrong. That can happen. Depends on the cardstock. It depends on if you have... Sometimes it's like the dust from the embossing magic pad that makes it look different too. And then it's like, it like bakes it onto your cardstock. So I don't think you're really doing anything wrong. That's just kind of the nature of heat embossing. And again, it really depends on what kind of cardstock you're using. So Tom, I completely have lost my tape runner. So I'm going to use this. I have to load this one. Maybe I didn't. It was the end of our last video and I just ran out. I find that happens to me too with certain colors, like reds seem to change a little bit. The darker the color, like the blues, they don't seem to change very much. Sometimes the reds change a little bit when you heat them. But I don't know that it's the heat or if it's the like embossing magic pad or the powder tool that you're using. Sometimes that just leaves a little bit of residue behind.
What red is that cardstock?
This is red velvet. And I just eyeballed this because I cut it a little bit smaller. Okay. Now I noticed on Angie's card she embellished her snowflakes. So I'm going to embellish these. But before I do that, I'm going to get a piece of... Ooh, should we do a... Let's see here. Should we take a look at Kelly Green? Let me get a piece of Kelly Green here. So this would be very traditional red and green. But I feel like that's too fun. You know what I mean when I say that? It's too fun for the elegant style of this. I feel like this card would actually look really pretty. And I know Tom and I were just talking about this. But a lot of people are mixing tans and grays together. And I think that's really pretty. This is our soft stone. Or we could just go very traditional and just do a white background, which might really make that red pop a little bit more. I feel like that might be the most elegant. I think people will feel the best about that. So why don't we go ahead and do that? I'm going to cut this down. To 4 1/4 by 11. And I need to find my scoring board that I put somewhere over here. Here it is. So I feel like this is a pretty good case because it definitely looks like her card, right? It has the feel of her card. But I changed up the stamp set. I didn't add the ink blending that she did. And I made mine kind of a, although I used her color scheme because she's got red in hers, I didn't make it the same way. So You know, that's the change-ups. So if you looked at both of our cards, you may recognize that they're both similar styles, but you wouldn't say that my card was an exact copy of Angie's, right? Okay, now let's take a look at Angie's card again. Angie has the beautiful pearls. I love that look, and I have some of those gold pearls too, so I think I'm going to do some of that on my card here. I'm going to do one in the center. Just going to pop some glue here. Let me start my glue. I like to start it like on a scrap piece of paper in the trash can. And then I'll do a couple of these little ones right here, because she did them on all of hers, and I feel like we're lucky that we can do them on all of ours because of the way that these snowflakes are positioned. And I'm putting the dots on first, the glue dots on first, and it's nice to do that because if you let the glue just sit for a second, it gets a little tacky and the gems release really easily onto the card. So we're definitely going to need a lot of these small ones. Although I'm going to use, well, let's start with the small ones. I'll just pop these on first. See, that glue is just getting nice and tacky. And it just kind of grabs the gem off of the jewel picker. Watch me put my hand right in the glue. Just need to turn some of these over. Yeah, this is pretty. Angie, if you're watching, I don't know if she's watching, because I never tell the person who I'm going to case. I just say inspired by our community, and so they have to be watching to find out that they were cased. But if anybody knows Angie, you could always tag her and say, hey, you were cased on Stampin' Chat Live. That's always fun. All right, I'm going to just turn a couple more over here. Pop these on. And then I'm going to put a big one like in the center here. I think that's fun. And I tend to not use the big ones too much, but for this kind of design, it's perfect because it really sets those off. This one. All right. A couple more, and then I think this card is cased. Then I will show you a very easy way to case a card. To case this card.
Oh, looks like it might be time for word of the day.
All right, let's just take a look at this one more time. Look at that, Tom.
Wow.
Didn't that come out nice? It's so fun.
From every angle.
Yeah. And it's just got, you know, if you are kind of still haven't jumped into foiling yet, but you like a little sparkle and shine, heat embossing is such a nice way to create that look. Okay, so go ahead, Tom. You do your word of the day. You come into the scene because I've got to go get a different stamp set, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Word. Well, earlier we had a impromptu inspired by your project word of the day. That was Mission Impossible. And tonight's word of the day, have you ever lost a shoe? The dog takes it or it just you misplaced it. Well, then you'd be doing some soul searching. Right? Soul searching phrase of the day. And I'm back in the dead space.
That's very good. All right. Well, I'm going to put this aside and then we'll take a look at this again at the end. Now, this next card that I'm going to make, and this one is going to be a quickie. So this one I'm going to cut again. I'm going to cut it. I'll make it an A2 size card for now. So that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. All right. And then I am going to put this here into my Misty on my grip mat. Now this one I'm not as worried about because I'm going to use an old favorite. If you don't have this stamp set, then you have to be like really, really relatively new because I have used this stamp set in so many videos that I'm going to show it to you and you're going to be sick. You're going to be like, not this one again. But it's the Holiday Tapestry. I love this stamp set so much. And what I love about this is it's called Holiday Tapestry, but this by itself just looks like tapestry. We have an embossing folder called Tapestry. It's not the same exact size, but it gives you the same look. And this can be used any time of the year. We just happened to mix it in with Christmas and Hanukkah greetings, and it just felt very, I don't know, very, festive, I guess is the word for it. So I'm going to do this one, and this is one that's going to go very fast, right, because it's a big stamp. But before I put this down, I'm going to just eyeball the center of this card. I'm just going to eyeball it. All right. Now, if you don't want to eyeball it, we can do the cutting thing, but I'm just going to eyeball it here. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I just want to block that off. And then I'm going to block the rest of this off too, because this is a giant stamp. So I'm going to just put some Post-it notes down here just to get it away from the rest of the design. And then I'm going to not put it like, it's going to be kind of on an angle, all right? Like this. So it's going to take up a good part of the card, but it's not going to go all the way to this line. We're still going to put the lines on though. I think it'll look nice. Okay, so I'm going to use my embossing magic pad here. And if you get embossing magic pad on your grip mat, don't worry about it. You could just rinse it right off. Let me see. Okay. So now I'm going to ink this up really well. Here we go. And I wanted to give you guys a little tip. For those of you that like to craft along and you have the supplies, but it's going too fast for you, I don't know if you knew this, but you can pause a live. You can actually pause while the live is streaming and then hit play again and it will pick up from where you left off, or you can zip ahead to where we are now. So you might finish up the live, 30 minutes after we're already done streaming, but that's just one way that if you feel like you want to craft along, that you can. Now I gotta find my little, I don't know where it went, so I'll get another one here. Now this time I'm going to use white embossing powder because we're gonna do a little bit of inking on this. Okay, so let me get my Chucky tool. Let's get good coverage here. And we're going to do this just with white powder, so it's going to look like nothing. And that might be a little frustrating. Now I'm just going to take this off, and I'm going to take this off. And then, all right. Now I could have done this down at the bottom corner and made it super even, but Again, I'm not worried about it because this design isn't symmetrical the way the snowflakes were. You know, we're just coming in off the top here. Oh, this is so pretty. I don't know if you can see that design. Can you see it in there? Look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to emboss this. I'm going to heat emboss it. This I feel like I have to do one at a time. It's just big and it's overwhelming to not do this.
Okay, how about a word of the day trifecta?
Oh my gosh, really? Yes, let's do it.
It's just inspiration in the air all over the place.
I love it.
So have you heard in Florida the iguanas are falling out of the trees?
I did hear that.
Okay, so
Do people know why? Do you want to tell them why? Just
it's a cold spell down there.
Yeah.
And they just kind of sleep, right? They're fine.
yeah, they freeze up a little bit and they just fall out of the trees.
So would you call those blizzards?
That's great. I love that. It's so cute.
Back to the dead space.
Okay. So now I've got one side done here and I'm using my embossing magic pad again. I'm going to take this stamp off and I'm just going to reposition it. Okay. So I also need to put these down here because we did travel over a little bit. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to do this. Just like right there. Okay. And we're going to ink it again. Oh my gosh, Tom, you're so funny. A trifecta on a Tuesday night. Love it. Okay. I feel like I really need to ink this up. I know it seems like I'm like, you know, really into it here. But this is a bold stamp. It's pretty solid and the lines are pretty thick. So you really don't want to miss a whole lot. It's not delicate like the last one we made. And we're still inspired by Angie with this because we're still doing a split design. But this one, I just want to show you a little bit of ink blending with it. So we're going to pull that off. We're going to pull that off. And I like having them in these Ziploc containers. I use so much white and clear, but I don't use as much gold, so I never, you know, put that much, I never opened that many golds. I think like I've got like, I don't know, like 3 jars in here. All right, and we are going to trim this down a little bit anyway, so. Okay. Let's go ahead and heat this side now. It looks so pretty, this design, even without any color on it at all when you're looking at it in real life, because it looks like an embossing folder, but not an embossing folder. It kind of looks like that wallpaper that has a sheen to it. Have you ever seen that? Where it's tone on tone, but it's got a sheen. It's really pretty. Alrighty. Now we've got that done. Let's just put this over here to the side. And then we're going to pull this up and we're going to put this terrific tape right onto here like this. We're going to try to get it straight. Sorry if my head's in the way. I'm trying to get it straight. I'll just make it match the other one, and then we can cut this out. So if it's not perfect, we don't have to worry about it. So once again, I did the same thing. I just put some Terrific tape there. And we're going to put white on here. You can mix powders too. Like if you think that gold going across the center would be better against the white of the rest of the design, that works too. You know, you don't have to worry about it. But using the Terrific tape is great because you can really just get your brush all over the place and it doesn't matter. It's not going to take it off. Okay. And then we'll emboss that. I don't know how much you guys can see the shine in this, but I think you can. And it's kind of nice because the heat kind of melts that glue that's behind there a little bit. Now I'm going to get my my sticky mat here, and I'm just going to lay this down on the sticky mat just to try to line these lines up so that they look straight.
A few questions about the Chucky tool. That is in the works.
Yes.
Stay tuned. We're working on it.
Okay, and that is going to go right there. And I think that's going to be an even line now. We can trim that a bit to make it work, to make it straight. And we'll be able to see it much better after we do our ink blending. Okay. And I might stamp my color, my greeting in black on this one. Yeah, when the card is tipped, you can see it. That's great. So the Chucky tool, for those that are asking, is this tool right here. It's a stamp pressure tool. My friend Chuck Meadows invented this. It was his invention. Nobody was doing anything like it. He invented it. He sent it to me, and he made it out of a curtain finial and a furniture protector pad. And then I asked him permission if I could design it. Well, I asked him first if he wanted to design it, and he said no, because he already designed it. He said he didn't need to do anything with it, but I was welcome to create it, which I think that's the proper thing to do since he's the one that created it. And there's something very special about his that's different than any other stamp pressing tool on the market. And we started it with a guy here, and that didn't work out, and so we're in the process of working on something different, so stay tuned. These things aren't always easy to do as quickly as you'd like. Okay, now let's get some ink colors. I want to do like a teal, and I want to do a green. So let's do a teal and a green. Let me get my ink stand. Oh, Brianne Loveland. Thank you so much. I know Brianne is in the comments, and she is linking everything for everybody. And every time I get my ink stand out, I think of Brianne, because Brianne Loveland is the inventor of the ink stand, and she and her husband make these, and they make them right in Indiana. And they have a website called the Inkstand Shop. So Brianne, if you wouldn't mind linking this, that would be great. Okay. So I'm going to use Sea Glass and Applemint. Two really nice, light, pretty colors. So I gotta get some of this embossing powder off of my sticky mat. And we'll give that a second to dry. And then we'll go ahead and we'll put this on here. And we're just going to do some ink blending. And we're going to come up We're going to mix these colors together. All right. Okay. So let's start over here. Oh, look how pretty that is. It's nice and soft. And I'm just going over the design a little bit. Going to add a little bit over here. We'll do a little bit over here. We're going very light, but I'm going to go over the line there so we define that line a little bit. We don't know our next release date because we've got a bunch of different things going on, but we'll let you know as soon as we know. I haven't mentioned that because we don't actually have that yet. Okay, so that is the sea glass, and now we're going to do the Applemint. Okay, and we're going to add some of that in here. I love these two colors together. They're so pretty. Just such a beautiful green and blue together. We'll bring a little bit up from the bottom here. Isn't this just a lovely combination? And then I'm going to fill this in here with a little bit more sea glass going right across to define the line, the greeting line there. Brianne should be texting me right now. Use both your ink stands. I have more than two. And I told her, if you see me using one going back and forth, text me and remind me that I have more. I can put all my inks out at once. But, you know. Okay. So isn't that just so pretty? It's just really delicate, and it creates that split design because of the terrific tape. Now I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to rub over the surface just to get any ink. You can see it coming off onto the paper towel there. Any ink that's resting on top. All right. Now let's get Master Layouts 2. This away, and we'll get Master Layouts 2, and we'll cut this out with Master Layouts 2. And the reason why I want to cut it out with Master Layouts 2 as opposed to cutting it with the paper cutter is because I'm going to be able to get everything nice and crisp, and I'm going to be able to see that the lines are straight because I didn't really line that up very well. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So let me find Master Layouts 2. I know it's on my desk here somewhere. Here it is. So I'm going to use the stitch die first, and I'm trying to decide which side I want to be the top. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm kind of like blocking. I'm turning it a little bit to make sure that it's straight. Now, is it perfect? No. Is it better than horrible? Yes. So I'm just looking at the top here and then this line to see if that's pretty straight. And I think that's pretty good. That's pretty close. I'll put a little piece of masking magic there to hold that into place. And then I'll go ahead and cut that and we'll hope for the best. Alrighty. Now I think I'm going to, here we go. I think I'm going to use black ink for the greeting and a black panel for behind it. Because I think the black is going to make all these light, pretty colors pop even more. Alrighty, let me grab a piece of black. and Master Layouts 2. This is the plain rectangle. I don't have a lot of room here. It's a small piece there. Yeah, it does look like ribbons running through the middle, Lori. You're right. It looks like a sheer white ribbon, right? See, we can make what we need. We don't have to have what we need. We can make it. Okay. Now, I'm going to put this away because we don't need the machine anymore. And then, yay, black! I know, right? It's not the same. A Gina K card that doesn't have black ink on it is not even a Gina K card. So let me put this away. This stamp, this well-loved stamp, Holiday Tapestry. I'm telling you, it is one that I don't think I can ever retire this stamp set, ever, because I love it so much, and I've loved it for so many years. And I know a lot of you out here that are watching that are, you know, my repeat offenders for years that have been watching. You probably have so much of what I used tonight. And for our newer people, welcome. It's fun to see some of these older sets, and hopefully it gives you some confidence that when you get something from Gina K Designs that I use it, and I use it again and again. It's not like one and done. So hopefully you can find it in your craft room. I know some of you probably are like, oh my gosh, where did I put that? That was years ago. All right, now we could make this card into any kind of card we want, right? It doesn't have to be a holiday card. It could be a sympathy card. It could be a retirement card, a birthday card. I'm sure I have the right greeting way over there, but because I didn't plan ahead, I think we will just go ahead and make this just like a Happy Holidays card. Merry Christmas. Could be Hanukkah. Be a beautiful Hanukkah card. But I'll make a second Christmas card because I actually need to get to my 60 quota. So I'm going to make it another Christmas card. And I think that this will be just very pretty and very elegant. So hopefully, I know my head's in the way, but hopefully that looks pretty centered. I'm going to pick it up. I feel like it's going uphill or downhill just a little bit. But I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to just grab the acetate off of something here.
Tammy asked, could you use this as a wedding card?
Oh, it would be a gorgeous wedding card. Yes. Great idea, Tammy. It would be a beautiful wedding card, I think. I mean, look at it. Don't you guys think? So I'm just going to stamp this and see if that looks straight. Does that look straight to you guys? Does it look better than horrible? I think it's good. I think it's good. It'll be good. We'll go with it. It might be just a hair not perfect, but my lines aren't perfect. My ribbon lines aren't perfect. So we're gonna make it. We're gonna do it this way. Okay, so stamp that. I'm gonna stamp it again to get it a little blacker. Maybe I'll give it one more pass. But yeah, I love the idea of making this a wedding card. I think that would be really pretty for a wedding card. It's just one of those stamps that can be anything you want it to be. And it would also be beautiful pattern paper like we made the other night when we were doing our pattern paper. I mean, imagine putting that design over the gauze stamp or over that close-knit sweater look stamp. You know, it's just got such a beautiful tapestry look to it anyway. It feels very fabric-y and very, very light. Okay, so now we will layer this together, and I'm going to use that other, well, maybe I'll do a different color because There's a lot of white going on here, but you can see, I mean, there we go. We kind of cased that design again by creating the split layer in the center and having that straight block style letter going across the center of the card. We did embossing, but this time, instead of doing the gold, we did white. But we did case the idea of doing ink blending over it, so kind of doing that little bit of emboss resist. And then let's look at sea glass. I think that would be a really pretty card base color. I feel like the sea glass makes the Applemint pop. If we used Applemint, I think it would make the sea glass pop. Whatever the opposite color is, that's the one you're going to see. You're going to see the opposite color a little bit more. It brings it out a little bit more. And I do like seeing a little bit more of that green. Yeah, Applemint is it's a kick-butt color. It really is. So, and then we can embellish this a little bit, but I think we should embellish it with something like our crystal clear sequins, because they are one of my favorite sequins. They don't have any color and they don't have any iridescent to them like our disco ball. The disco ball is beautiful too, but I think, let me just look, I must have them over here. Do I have them over here? I probably have them in a bag over here somewhere. Oh my goodness, don't tell me I don't have them or I took them home. That's the ones I want to use, Tom. Crystal clear. I don't have them. Well, that's sad.
I'll be right back.
Are you going to go and get them for me? Ooh, that'd be so nice. Yeah, get me some crystal clear sequins. So, and I'll talk about this card, and I'll talk about the other card. So, all right. So, two very similar cards in style, right? Very similar in style. However, this one we did with all single stamps, and we did this using the Blizzard stamp set. We just kind of created that oval look that was similar to Angie's card. We did the split design using terrific tape and embossing powder. We used block style lettering, and we used gold embossing powder. So those are the parts of the card that we cased. The gold powder, the oval shape, the split sentiment design, and that block style letter. We also cased the gold pearls. But what we didn't do was we didn't do all of the ink blending that Angie did. Angie used a single stamp that was put out in 2020 that's not available anymore. And we used the red, but we only used it as a little outside layer where Angie made her card all red. For this one, what we cased in Angie's card was we cased the split sentiment design, and we used the holiday tapestry set, so we used the one big stamp like she did, although our one big stamp didn't have that built-in line, so we added the terrific tape to do that. We also used the block style lettering, and we did the ink blending, so we did that little bit of emboss resist on it, but we did a different color palette. It's not snowflakes, so a lot of it is very different too. Oh, thank you so much. Tom brought me some crystal clear sequins. So I love these sequins. You've got these little cup ones that are super cute, but I'm going to use the flat parts to add some sparkle to this because, again, you know, Angie embellished her card. Whoa, that was way too much glue. I didn't need anywhere near that much glue, but that's all right. And I'm just going to do these kind of randomly just to add. You'll see, like, when I turn the card into the light, how you'll be able to see all the beautiful sparkle and shine of these sequins. I'm going to use quite a few here, but why not? All right, I think that'll be good. We'll see what that looks like. Okay, and these should go on relatively quickly, and then we can do the little side view so that you can see it sparkle. But if you haven't tried these are fun sequins. Crystal clear. Let's see. Got a bunch of glue dots down here. I went a little crazy, but I don't think you can really ever have too much sparkle and shine, especially on holiday cards. And these sequins are interesting because they're completely flat, so they don't cup. And we plan on doing more that don't cup in 2026, just because people seem to like them. They're very easy to mail. I think that's why. Okay, and you can see all of that beautiful shine on there with those sequins. Such a pretty design. Thank you, Tom. Now I have crystal clear sequins. I needed them. All right, Tom, which one's your favorite?
I have to say the blue.
The blue? You like the blue?
Yeah, it's very
Calming.
kind of winter wonderlandy.
Yeah, it sure is. All right.
They're
So
both very, very breathtaking.
thank you. All right, let's take a look at Angie's card again. So for those of you that joined us late, you can see what I was referring to, her beautiful card that she posted in our Facebook group. So there it is. Look at that card. That is gorgeous. And you can see she used the Snowflake Cascade stamp set from Simon Says Stamps Stamptember. That was the set that I designed for them back in 2020 for Stamptember. And all of her beautiful scrolled looking snowflakes in there. That is all one big design. You just stamp it and then flip it and stamp the other side, and the big block style letters. It's a nice big bold greeting in there, and her gorgeous ink blending. And then here is my first case of that card and my second case, inspired by Angie Shi. All right, that was so much fun. I'll zoom in on these a little bit so you can see it a little better. There we go. Okay. That's probably a little better. Boy, I don't know. I kind of, I like this one, and then I see this, and I go, no, I like this one. No, I like this one. No, I like this one. I like them both. I'm glad to have them both in my stash ready to mail for Christmas. That'll be a lot of fun. All right. Well, we are going to give away a gift card. But before we do, if you're new to Gina K Designs and you like this video, or even if you are a repeat offender, we would love it if you'd give it a thumbs up. But if you're new, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit all notifications so you never miss another video. And then you heard me talk quite a bit about our Facebook group. This is where I find a lot of my inspiration, and I know you guys do too, and you guys provide a lot of that information. So come on over and join us. It's called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. And then a big shout out to Brianne Loveland for linking everything for us tonight, Brianne. Thank you. We appreciate you so much. But if you missed any of Brianne's links to these products, you can find everything that I used tonight over on our website at ginakdesigns.com. Now we're going to give away a $15 gift card, so let's see who the lucky winner is. Are you ready, Tom?
Here we go. Drum roll, please. And tonight's lucky winner is Ann Overmyer. Ann Overmyer.
Yay, Marianne! Congratulations. You are our winner. All you have to do is send your name and email address to info@ginakdesigns.com, and we will get that digital gift card sent right to your inbox. Well, everybody, this was so much fun. A huge shout out to Angie Shi for creating such a beautiful card that inspired me. And to all of you who are in our Facebook group and on Instagram and all over the internet sharing your beautiful Gina K Designs projects, you inspire me each and every day, and I appreciate you all so very much. Are you sharing words of the day, Tom? Just making sure. And to Tom, thank you for your words of the day, Tom. We needed them. All right, everybody. Well, Tom and I will be back on Thursday with another Stampin' Chat Live, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.